guys. We're early for once. Woohoo.
Who's we?
I don't know. Who is that?
Well,
We're
according to
actually
Daryl
early.
Brooks, he don't know who he is or we is, because we ain't we and he ain't he, something like that.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Mm.
He doesn't know who anybody is, I don't think.
No,
Really doesn't.
that court case was crazy. But this court case you're talking about, actually a lot has happened today.
Yeah, there has been a lot of stuff came out. I actually didn't watch a whole lot of it because that all the medical examiner stuff, I was like, it's a little too much. A lot of talking about brains and bullet wounds and things like that. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of cringy. I couldn't do it. So,
Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say.
right,
Up to you
right.
to take the reins now.
But like, no, I thought we would. There's actually some. Grady has some things he needs to say.
Good old Grady Judd.
Yes, he does. He's got some things to say about Florida's gun laws, and I thought we could kind of listen to that and talk about that first before we get into old Murdaugh's stuff over here. So
Yeah, let's go for it.
thought we could kind of do that first. And in true fashion, my closed captions have rage quit again, so I don't know what's up with that. So
You got to make sure your settings are correct when in your phone or wherever you're downloading. Sometimes you can set your actual YouTube account to enable CC, so it always does it when it does have it. It'll always enable it.
oh, see, okay, we'll have to figure that out because I don't know
We'll talk
anything
about it on the
about
back
that.
end. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, no problem.
But
But
did you hear what I said?
good. Did you?
My
You
favorite
heard
thing
me.
is
You
what
heard
I
me.
like. Did you hear what I said?
I know, right? We do love Grady. He's awesome.
It's my favorite.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Commission, so I'm intimately aware of the vast details of that horrible day that occurred 5 years ago.
Hey, Susan. Good
And
to
it
see you.
breaks my heart. A lot of that whole environment breaks my heart. The sheriff's office in Broward County failed. The school system failed. The county failed.
Everybody
The
failed.
teachers failed in in the security systems and processes. There, I can't tell you just how many failures there are. There were. The children in this state, because of the Florida legislature and then Governor Scott, are much safer today than they ever were before. There's still
Yep.
process improvements that have to be made. There are
Oh, there's
still
always room for
those that are
improvement.
in denial, and as a result of
I
the
agree.
denial, they're not living up to the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas laws that were put in place, to the
Oh, he'll
order
definitely do
of
that,
the
Raven. He'll
law,
tell you
or
how he really
sometimes the
feels.
intent of the law. But
That's
the
for sure.
overwhelming majority of the school districts are better. The overwhelming majority of the police agencies
Yep.
are better. It has to
We
be
do need Grady
100%
everywhere.
Now you get into the political position of open carry or constitutional carry.
They're trying to take
or
away our Second Amendment rights,
the
people, with all these mass shootings that are happening, and that's why I chose not to talk about it yesterday.
Constitutional carry that's been
Right.
considered by the legislature
Too
is
much this year.
concealed carry, not open carry. And it's important to remember this. On that day, at that moment in time, when Nicholas Cruz showed up with that firearm, had there been people on that campus right there at the moment in time with a firearm,
Yep.
well trained, and used it, there wouldn't have been a massacre. at
Same as
Marjorie
Uvalde.
Stoneman Douglas.
Right.
So anyone
Exactly.
that tells you that the schools are less safe because we've got armed guardians or armed officers or deputies on the campus, anyone who tells you that is not living in the realm of reality. They just aren't.
Exactly.
Now, the bad guys with guns already have guns,
Yeah.
or will steal guns, or will use guns. At that moment in time, that
Exactly.
day
The
and
law's
time,
not going to stop them if
there's a
they're
clear
dedicated
law
to being a
against bringing
criminal
gun
already.
onto a campus.
No.
But you think Nicholas cared about that?
Nope.
No, he didn't care because he was there to murder people. Law-abiding citizens follow the law. Criminals do not. There needs, and there is, robust systems and processes as an outcropping of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas laws and commission's work. The commission, and I know all of those commissioners, they are remarkable people, and their heart and soul is to keep children safe, not only in Florida, but across the nation. And I join that. But make no mistake about it, that we have to put layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of security in place. And we've done that. We are now plugging and have plugged mental health counselors and what we call orange teams or threat assessment systems in place. That's important. But when all of that fails and the next Nicholas Cruz shows up with a firearm on a campus, violating all the rules, getting through all of the layers of protection, if there's not someone there with a firearm to shoot that person graveyard dead at that moment in time, more students and more teachers are going to be killed.
Facts.
So I become angry when people with their editorial comments say, oh, we need
Good to see everyone.
less guns, not more guns. Don't you understand that criminals don't follow the rules? That there are millions upon millions upon millions of guns here? They're here.
Exactly.
And to think that we don't want good, honest people that know how to handle a
Right.
gun, care to handle it, to have a gun to keep themselves and others
Can you pause a
safe.
second? Most police forces, if you notice right now, they want to take your guns away because they're becoming more of a militia in a lot of places, right? They're getting tanks. They're getting all kinds of vehicles and weapons that we can't have, right? They're becoming a militia at some point. So we have to be understanding that there's, you have to stand up for your rights if you want to keep your gun rights, if you want to keep the Second Amendment. And you won't hear a lot of Grady judges out there that want you to take out that terrorist instead of them you have to wait for them. If you have the chance, you gotta take them out. Why do you think it took so long to take those planes over? If they would have started earlier and fought back, we could have got control faster, right?
Exactly. It never made any sense to me. Laws are not the problem here because the people that are out here doing these mass shootings and the school shootings, obviously they don't care for breaking laws in the first place.
Right.
Even if the majority of them went and obtained their guns legally, it's not going to stop them from doing what they're doing.
Right.
And the only thing you're doing by taking guns away from people that are trying to do the right thing is leaving us helpless and defenseless in that situation.
Right. Or to feel like you should be scared. You got to act scared or whatever. I don't like that.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, no.
Exactly, Lexi. If you take away everybody's guns, then only the criminals are going to have guns.
Yeah. There you go.
And I mean, we see with the whole Uvalde shooting, we seen how that worked out with the police department having guns. They had guns, and they still didn't go in there and do anything until it was too late. So a lot of times you can't depend on them to protect you. You have to protect yourself first and foremost.
Yep.
I have a problem with that. So at the end of the day, rules are in place. If you violate the law with your handgun, we'll make sure, or your rifle, we'll make sure that you're appropriately criminally charged.
Right.
But the good people of this state who care enough to appropriately, professionally, and safely handle a firearm, learn how to shoot it, stay proficient with it, and that's the only ones that should carry a concealed firearm. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Nope.
And if that person saves your child or your husband or wife or significant other from being shot by a criminal, you'll think different, at least for that moment in time.
Correct.
Exactly. And
I
Pause
agree with
break
that.
because there's bodies.
Bodies everywhere.
I think he definitely has a good point on that. I mean,
I'm
you
glad that
can't.
happened.
Yeah.
It needed to happen.
Well, you knew if there was something to be said, Grady was going to say it. He doesn't hold nothing back. That's for sure.
No.
He's got no problem telling you how he really feels. Now we're going to get into this Alex Murdaugh thing. They are a lot of debate as to whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to actually prove that Alex is guilty. And I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I don't really know right now if they do or not. They seem like they have a lot, but I think the defense is doing a pretty good job of creating that doubt and kind of tearing some of it apart. But there was a lot of really interesting things that did come out at the last minute today. We're going to kind of talk about some of that too.
Does anyone think there has been solid evidence to prove him as the shooter? Bob, I'm wondering what you make
We'll do
of
a
that. Do
poll
you
on that,
think
see
that
what
there
y'all
has
think
been
about that.
solid evidence shown to say Alex Murdaugh was the shooter here?
No, I don't. I think that there's been a lot of circumstantial evidence where they've been able to show why he would have done it. The fact of the matter is that they're just not going to be able to link him up with actually doing it. I mean, there's breadcrumb trails. You know what I mean? There's certainly smoke there, but there certainly has not been any kind of evidence that has been entered in that definitively points out that he's the guy. Which is why we're experiencing the joy of having to go through 2 trials in 1 trial with financial stuff. I mean, that their motive is so important because that's
I think
stronger
that's
evidence than they have with respect
kind
to
of a
what they
problem
have
too.
to who actually who actually killed both Paul and Maggie. So, I mean, they're having to kind of craft their way through this thing just because it's one of those things where there's no direct evidence. It's all circumstantial. So I don't know. I don't know how this financial thing is playing out. I just keep thinking about the fact that the jury doesn't have notebooks to take notes. And we're into the 4th week of trial with witness after witness after witness. And I've been doing this for 20 years, Anjanette, and I have no idea what Harpootlian's entire purpose was with the pathologist. You know what I mean? Imagine what a jury's thinking. I mean, you always have to we don't matter. What we say doesn't matter. With the 12 in the box, plus the alternatives, that's who matters. And it seems awful clunky to me.
I think they're going for the 2-shooter theme here. I mean, that's kind of what they suggested early on. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It was
That's definitely what the defense was trying to put out there today. I think a lot of the questioning of the medical examiner was trying to create that doubt of hey, you can't say that it wouldn't be possible for there to be 2 shooters instead of 1.
Right.
Which, I mean, a lot of what the defense was saying really didn't make any sense to me. When he was trying to argue about, well, are you sure he wasn't shot from this side instead of that side? And I'm like, that's really stuff that's easy to prove.
Well, why wouldn't he just shoot? Why wouldn't he just shoot him with both of them with the shotgun? That's the first thing you got to think about. What's the obvious look here? Why didn't he just use the shotgun if they were both the same distance away from him? Weren't they? Pretty much.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so
much.
He expected one's going to run if he's the only shooter. If there's 2 shooters, you can actually shoot Paul, and when she takes off running, shoot her, because you got to make sense of that phone moving. Did somebody try to unlock that with her face, or did she try to unlock it while she's running and she drops the phone? Where did it go?
Yes, I mean, there's that aspect of it too. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think the defense is doing a good job of trying to put that doubt in there, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't know if it's going to be enough to persuade the jury that there is enough doubt there to say that maybe he didn't do this.
Right. Well, you'd have to wonder either that or maybe they were putting in people's heads that 2 shotguns, like, or two people did it. Like he wants people to think 2 people were there, right? Like he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe there was 2. Yeah. It puts doubt. Like he's an ex-attorney. He knows how he needed to set this up in his head, right? He knows that there's going to need to be 2 guns used, right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
think-
I think on some of this stuff he was kind of smart about it, but on other things it doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I think it's definitely going to be a big point for the jury to be debating on that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at least it leaves doubt.
Yes, you do have to reload a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
The shotgun only holds like 2 bullets.
Yeah, and plus, remember, he doesn't know what bullets to put in that shotgun either, because didn't he put the wrong shells in the gun?
He had 2 different kinds of shells in it. Whenever
Right.
the police got there, when he had told them that, oh, I was scared, so I ran back to the house and grabbed a shotgun and brought it out here.
Mm.
And when the police got there, it was leaning up against the side of his truck. When they took that gun and emptied it, he had 2 different shells in it, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, it's all stuff that was brought up in court. Buster,
It
well, we
was.
gotta wait for Buster to testify too, right? Buster, yeah, Raven, exactly. Buster may know something, or like, what about Uncle Eddie or Fast Eddie or whatever you want to call him? Isn't that a problem too? He hasn't testified yet.
Yeah, they're saying Eddie is supposed to be on the stand either later this week or early next week, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. For some reason, they keep putting it off, so I don't even know. He may end up not even testifying. I don't know about that. I do know that the defense, as of right now, is kind of being wishy-washy as to whether Alex is going to testify. I don't think they actually want to put him up there, and I really, from their standpoint, I can't blame them. I think that would be very bad for him. Yeah, Buster was not. Yeah, Buster was not nowhere near the property when that happened.
No, Buster's not going to know anything special besides what kind of stuff his dad was doing shady, including helping him load alcohol into the boat that probably caused a lot of Paul getting gone having to do with.
Yeah, I mean, Buster might know as far as like the financial stuff. He may know something about that. But I don't think he knows anything about the actual murders. Unless it's something that he was told after the fact. Now, that's entirely possible.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering too. I mean, we pretty much know that he did it. We pretty much know Alex did this. To me, there's no doubt that he did it. It's just whether or not they have enough evidence to prove it, or if there's going to be enough doubt, for the jury to,
There you go. That's like the most important one right there. Can they create the doubt? He's got a really good law team, got a really good legal team.
He does. As much as I hate his attorney, I got to give it to him. He really does go hardcore for it.
Yeah.
I just don't like the way he talks to people. He comes off as being really rude, but I guess that's his job.
Maybe he is really rude.
A defense attorney, I guess, is not there to make friends. He's not supposed to be nice to people.
No. Nope.
Yeah, but Buster does seem like he's a bit nervous in that courtroom. He definitely is.
A little confusing with the cross. I really had to kind of work my mind through it myself. At T-Body Fitness 1 from Twitter, did the medical examiner specifically say the time of death? I'll handle that one quickly. No,
No.
they did not. I think they're relying on the cell phone records for that.
Huge digital evidence is
Fount
huge.
from Twitter asks, defense kept mentioning
Definitely.
the lack of reviewing crime scene photos. What was the overall defense strategy with the line of questioning with the pathologist? What were your thoughts on that, Dina?
I think that they were trying. Okay, here's the thing: is I think the defense has a lot of leeway. They have some great questioning here regarding the police and all of their collection and analysis, because if the prosecution loses this case, it's, I think, going to be because of the lack of what the police didn't do. Like that night, why didn't they go inside the house and start swabbing everything, right? And it rained and they leave, and all of the things get delayed. They end up searching, you know, even when they go and find that jacket, you know, it's days later. I think that there is so much room for the defense because of the lack of really what the police did in the collection. It bothers me a lot that they haven't shown any evidence of what was inside that home, because if he did commit these murders, you know, he would have had to clean up, you know, there's things on door handles all over the place. And I haven't heard any evidence, because you can even show the existence of like bleach or cleaners if there wasn't blood. And the lack of all of that, because they didn't do it, I think they didn't consider him a suspect as early.
I don't know about that, though.
What?
As far as him having to use like bleach and stuff and clean it inside the house, this didn't happen inside the house. Everything that happened.
Well, he walked
inside.
inside. Well, didn't he go change his pants were found inside the house? He took a shower inside the house. Something could have been found inside the house, blood, but matter or whatever from the brain that was washed down the shower, though, that couldn't be found because he not only cleaned the shower, she cleaned the shower the next morning or scrubbed it down as it goes. The story goes, right?
That's true too. You know, I was thinking about that earlier as far as like the clothes. They were making a big deal out of the fact that the blue shirt was missing. How do we know for a fact that those pants that the housekeeper found in the bathroom were the pants he had on that night before?
You don't.
Maybe he has more than one pair of tan pants that look the same.
That's a great point. You should do a poll and you should make a short video about that, or make a short out of this, because that's very, very good. Nobody's brought that up yet. How do we know that those pants are the exact pants he wore? How many Jake from State Farm pants does he have? What are you wearing, Jake? Khakis.
Exactly. I mean, he's an attorney, and I imagine as an attorney,
more than one cat.
Exactly. I imagine he has a lot of different pairs.
Very good catch. Very, very good catch.
So for them to say that that's the pair of pants, I don't know what evidence they have that points to that.
Very good.
He could take any pair of pants out of his dresser and just go toss them in the bathroom, and there you go.
Right? Because he's going to probably take everything with him, and that he's put in that blue, whatever he's rolled everything up in, including the guns. I'm sure the guns and then those clothes are going to be all together somewhere. He didn't take time to separate everything. You figure he just wrapped everything up in one spot and buried it, or something like that. Or that's who he hired somebody else to get rid of it. Maybe that's the whole case with that. I don't know. Maybe Fast Eddie will have those answers.
Maybe. And also wondering too if they were talking about the whole raincoat or blue tarp, whatever, that he took over to his mother's house.
Mm-hmm.
Did they search the rest of her property, or did they just go look inside the house?
Oh, I'm sure I'm sure that they're going to be more apt to searching more places once we hear more testimony.
Because there is what they call a smokehouse on the mother's property. And the nurse did testify that the next day he came back over, got out of the truck, got on the four-wheeler, rode the four-wheeler to that smokehouse,
and burned
stayed
some
out
stuff,
there
didn't he?
for who knows how long, and then got back in the truck and left. So who knows what he was doing out there?
Yeah, makes you think.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering, because they've never mentioned if they searched any buildings on the mother's property. They just mentioned going in and getting the blue jacket.
Right.
Yeah, they do. They do keep bringing up that blue tarp or raincoat.
And it doesn't matter which it is, really. It's
exactly.
As long as it's the same color blue. That's pretty much. I mean, Sometimes the eye doesn't see exactly what you think you see.
Well, yeah, I mean, and plus, whenever he carried it in, it being rolled up, if it's, you know, the same similar material, you're not going to be able to tell the difference anyway.
Right.
Being a business professional and attorney, you have lots of pairs of dress shirts. Exactly.
Yeah.
You do.
They'll
I think
pop all
they did
messed
mess
up.
up. They did.
Yeah.
They did. I've never seen a crime scene where they did not immediately lock down the entire property. Where they were just like, okay, well, we're just going to deal with right here where the bodies were found. And then, you know, days later, we'll come back and worry about the rest of the property. I've never seen that happen before.
So was it the Murdaugh name that kind of got it all twisted up?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean,
Because like back then, the bank was willing to just give him a bunch of money, like 400 grand worth almost, at no signature with nothing, no questions asked. Maybe the cops were like, "Oh, you're Murdaugh. Yeah, you've been out here for a century. Yeah, maybe we should just mind our P's and Q's because you and your brother are attorneys too. We don't want any of that."
well, so
Like,
that's what I wonder
how
too.
far
Like,
does their qualified immunity go? And to be honest with you, I mean, yeah, I think they screwed up. I mean, who cares if it's Michael Jackson that you're arresting? You have to, for this or questioning. You got to go search all that. Never land, the whole thing, right?
exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I've never seen them, you know, only search a part of a crime scene and then come back days later for the rest of it. Who cares if it was raining or not? I mean, I understand it was starting to rain, so they had to get the outdoor stuff as quickly as possible, but typically they will stay on the scene as long as it takes to get everything they need.
Right.
Yeah, Lexi, that was a good one, wasn't it? $350,000 overdrawn, and they only charge him a $5 fee.
Right. Love that bank.
Exactly.
How are they still in business? Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they obviously have no damage control going on over there, or a department that handles that.
Right. A very forgiving overdraft.
He was off that day.
Right.
Let's just give it to him. I think he's good for it. He's a redhead. Why would he lie?
Exactly, right?
Right.
It's Murdaugh. He'd never tell a lie. He cannot
Murdaugh
tell a lie.
Murdaugh, you know, one thing about Murdaugh is
What's
about
that?
Alex Murdaugh. About Alex Murdaugh. About Alex Murdaugh.
is that she can't even get his name right.
I know, right?
Son of a gun.
She said Murdaugh. And
Murdaugh.
now she's got other people saying it too. Exactly. I'm gonna need to know what kind of bank he was using. I need a bank like that.
Just trust like that works. I don't care about the bank. Just trust. Anybody out there want to lend me $300 even? I don't even care. Start with there. We'll start
Exactly,
low.
right?
I'll build up some
We'll
trust.
start with that.
Yeah. Make it back in 2 easy payments.
Exactly. I'm gonna loan you $350,000, and then I'm gonna loan
Could
you
you actually
400
loan
more.
me? Can you actually loan me like 500 this time so I can start paying you back with the same money that you gave me? Yeah, that'd
I
be cool.
know.
You could do that.
I
That's
don't
basically what
understand
happened. That he took
Yeah.
that money that they loaned him, and he started paying back the money he stole.
Yeah, that's what makes no sense to me.
Oh,
You're
doesn't have to.
$350,000 overdrawn, so they're
He
going to
makes
loan
dollars.
they're going to loan you 400,000 so you can pay them back.
Awesome.
I don't understand their loan policies at all.
Just leave
I
it
think
alone
that-
then.
Yeah, I think they might want to rethink that.
as they should have. In hindsight, they didn't do as thorough of an investigation as early, and I think that hurts them here.
You make some really good points there. And just the fact that the search warrant wasn't executed. I mean, I still am a little bit shocked by that. This is a double homicide, for
Right.
goodness sakes. Let's
Correct.
get to some more of our questions. Jackie Lowe from YouTube asks, if ones find it hard to believe
Jackie
money was the
Lowe.
motive and distraction, could it be possible he did it in fear of sparing them embarrassment of his debt and being fired that day? that's interesting, Michael. I mean, do you think that's actually? Do you think that that's plausible that
Boy.
he was? I mean, how do you explain Buster still being alive then?
Yeah, that's pretty extreme. But I'll tell you what that does, Angela. It tells us how desperate people are to find a believable motive. I have to say, I mean, I've been involved in 1 or 2 trials, whether in the courtroom, in the field, on the desk. This is the worst circumstantial case I've ever seen. You know, normally we see some direct evidence, some DNA.
I don't like hearing
or a
that,
great
actually.
motive. And we got nothing here. We have neither. So in discounting,
I thought
that
they had
theory,
good
it's as
circumstantial
bad
evidence.
as-
That shows what I know. I thought they had pretty decent evidence from what I've been hearing. Even with the testimonies even make it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just missing something that doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I guess I know nothing about true crime. The last few cases have really screwed my mentality up on things.
I know.
I thought we had decent stuff, like even guns missing and down to like him. The whole. I know it's a totally different case, but the money does play into this totally.
Right, it does. I mean, I think they've got really good evidence. It's just a matter of whether or not the defense is going to be able to, pick enough of it apart.
For him to say that leaves preponderance of a doubt in our minds. That it's probably going to be possibly preponderance of a doubt in one of those jurors' mind. If we get a hung jury out of this, we're going to have to go back to this video clip and play this, because this is when my jaw drops, and then I guess the next one is when my things drop again. I don't thought they could drop once in a lifetime, but I don't even know what to say right now. I thought this Q-tip looking guy was definitely going down no matter what. Now don't know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I was real confident there that like they've got this. There's no way he's getting away with this. But now I'm starting to be like, oh, I don't know. Kind of get nervous about it. I don't know.
Yeah, very relevant, Jess. Especially Winston's foot. It's about to fall off.
Oh no!
It's hanging by a thread.
Oh no! Oh no!
I need $4,976 by the end of this show.
Those little Taco Bell dogs are still laughing at him.
Yes.
It's not good. Poor Winston.
Okay. Moving on.
Poor Winston. He gonna have to start taking a different route when he goes for a walk, so he don't run into him. It's so sad.
I don't want to get into it right now. I don't want to make people feel bad and want to donate. That's the last thing I want to do.
Right.
By the way, it's paypal.me/ No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. Totally kidding.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not. His foot's really, it's just hanging on by a thread. People just hit me up in the background. I have Facebook Pay too and all that stuff. I'm kidding about it. I don't even have that. I was totally kidding on that one too. Yeah, it went up $900 since I couldn't pay Cat since my show yesterday. Yeah, and the day before. Look at this. They know we've been asking people, and now they're like, they don't want to help, so let's just charge him more. And really, it's not about Winston. It's about Murdaugh. Let's get back to Murdaugh instead of Winston Dog. Yeah,
he's the dog here, Murdaugh.
Yeah, just check my description if you need the links to my PayPal's or anything, and Cash Apps and all that stuff. Venmos.
All right, good points, Michael. Jenny GA from YouTube. Anyone thinking maybe a hung jury? Bob, what do you think about that?
We
It's
just
a distinct possibility, frankly.
We were just talking about that.
I mean, there's this feeling, and it goes hand in hand with everything that's going on with Murdaugh and who he is down there, and the family and the legacy of them. I mean, he's sitting in the courtroom where his grandfather's, portrait is sitting in there. There's this feeling that this is a rigged game anyway. But going back to exactly what Michael just said, it's a weak case, and that's the brass tacks. Is it's a weak case. I mean, when you look at cumulatively what they have, it's not much. I mean, you're having to say, okay, well, he was there on the video.
I hope they bring out a lot more of them.
And we've built a timeline to when we think that the murders happened, but to go back to the point that they didn't process the scene properly is going to be huge in terms of in that jury box or in that deliberation room, because they just screwed up the entire investigation from the get, and they've put forth, the state has put forth an incredibly confusing narrative and the way that they put the case forward, intertwining the financials in order to try to establish a motive, it's just going to confuse the jury. I really believe that. And we still have the entire defense.
Sadly, I think so
to
too.
go. You know, so I think that a hung jury is a distinct possibility. The real question is, would they try him again?
Oh, I mean, the prosecution, I think they think their case is a strong case. I mean, I would think they would have to try this again. Say there is a hung jury.
See, if the prosecution thinks it's strong,
the ends of the state case.
Not like these guys are representing him.
No.
So I guess we should worry about what his attorneys think then.
Right,
I forgot attorneys like to lie, right? Because if you look at the dead attorney in the road and you look at the dead cow in the road, there's skid marks in front of the cow. Nobody wanted to run into that, not because of the damage, just because they didn't want to kill the cow. The attorney was dispensable.
Exactly.
Disposable, dispensable, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they did take the portrait down of his grandfather that was in the courtroom.
It was there though. This is a case that should have never. If you could move it out of South Carolina, that's what you should have done. If you could have moved venues or something, that should not been. The judge was probably put into place by one of the Murdaughs somewhere down the line. I mean, well, they probably paid for the courthouse to be built.
I know. I'm wondering why they.
I don't know who's winning. Who's winning? I have no clue. Defense.
I wonder
or
why they
prosecution.
didn't try to move it.
It wouldn't matter. Honestly, it probably wouldn't matter. You can't go anywhere in You can't move it out of South Carolina, right?
Well, no.
So
But,
really,
I mean,
anywhere
they
you go,
could've-
all of South Carolina knows who the Murdaugh family is, right? It doesn't
maybe.
matter. That's probably why they didn't move it. They could. It doesn't matter, right?
That is true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll put it back up once the trial's over or not.
What does his grandfather do to anybody? His grandfather didn't kill anybody.
No.
Hell yeah, put it back up. If that means something to somebody, put it back up. Just because this jerk off did what he did, his grandfather didn't do that. He didn't tell him to do this. That's what this asshole's doing. It had nothing to do with anybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah, put it back up. It should stay up, actually. It should still be up because he should have to walk past it or see that or be reminded that his grandfather's watching this junk. Why take it down at all?
Yeah, I don't understand why they, what
that's rude.
What their reasoning
That's actually rude. Unless he's done something wrong in the past and been dug up, he should have been staying where he stays. Like, isn't he dead by now? Like, that's disrespectful. Yeah. Why move it? What are we going to take George Washington stuff down because, like, the Confederates went down the line or something, or the Redcoats come in or something changes? Like, no, like we lose World War III. Like, what? Where we start taking down presidents off Mount Rushmore? Just get rid of the two in the middle. Replace it with Obama and Clinton if you could.
Right.
Sorry, I almost threw up my mouth.
Yeah, I don't know why they took it down. I mean, really shouldn't have mattered one way or the other.
Stupid. That's just politics. That's why.
Probably.
So we have to be really open to the possibilities here with the verdict. Heather Bunner from YouTube, you guys, let's go around the squares. A quick round robin question, and let's make our answers quick here. What was he doing with all of his money? Dina, what do you think he was doing with
hiding
the
it?
He might have just been living on it. I mean, people tend to live above their means, and he just wasn't making enough for all of their kind of
that's a lot
properties,
a couple of horse races, maybe,
and so forth.
Yeah, and there was some testimony too that maybe he had some real estate deals that went south with some islands and off the coast of South Carolina. Michael, briefly, what do you think he was doing with all the cash?
Numbered accounts. Check your offshore numbered accounts. That's what I think. It's easy to hide money if you want to.
Hiding it, yeah, of course.
For that shoe to drop.
A new week and a new round of testimony.
Wait till Buster goes and picks it up.
Ooh, no, that would be interesting.
He's all Buster's his go-to with the mathematics and all the junk we're dealing with, right? Like he's the one who took the phone calls about like what to do with accounts, transferring this, do that. He's involved somehow, like even if he doesn't know it. Like
Yeah,
he's
that's
involved somehow in one of these schemes or washing money. Is there a laundering money thing maybe going on between him and his dad? Maybe. We don't know.
could be. I mean, we know that with the jailhouse phone calls, about him, telling him, "Hey, go talk to this person. They've got a check waiting for you. Pick it up, cash it, take it over here to this person," and that kind of stuff. So whether Buster realizes it or not, he's involved in the financial part of it, at least in my opinion. So I'm wondering if any of that's going to end up coming up. Be curious to actually see if Buster actually takes the stand. I know he's on the witness list, but I don't know. Just because they're on the potential witness list doesn't mean they have to call all of them, does it?
Well, I mean, if the jury can come to a guilty verdict before that, because I'm sure the jury, but there's still not a lot of talk about certain things. Like, remember when they'll break, like there's certain things that they have to, cover, but typically they still have they meet every day, right? Like at any point they could come to a conclusion he's guilty, right? And be like, I think we could, it's up to the courts on how much they need to go through. I don't know if everybody on the witness list needs to be called. I've seen juries where they haven't, but until they can prove that, the benefit of the doubt, I'm sure that's going to have to happen. We're going to go through everyone, nobody knows who's winning right now. To be honest with you, I think they're going to have to go through everybody.
I know.
Yeah,
and then now, we're getting stuff now like, oh, last minute, we just now got a new piece of evidence in, and now they're
what if
bringing
Eddie?
up
What if
new
Ed Fast
stuff.
Eddie gets up there and tells exactly a different story of what happened? Yeah, he tried to hire me to kill them before. I mean, that might help. I mean, make it go faster.
Oh, that would be huge,
right? I mean, there's things that could happen that could change the whole course of this trial.
Yeah, I don't
know.
I think once Eddie gets up there, what he's got to say, I think is going to be a huge part of it.
Right.
But I don't know. Do you think they're actually going to let testimony in about the whole attempted,
Yeah, if it's
taking
relevant,
his own life stuff?
If it's relevant enough, they will.
'Cause I'm betting the defense is probably going to try to keep that out if they can.
If they were smart, they would try to keep. Well, they've been trying to keep everything out, including finances. Right?
Well, they have. They've been trying to come up with every excuse for a mistrial they can think of.
And asked for one already. So
yeah, they've tried that twice now.
I still say ping pong and maybe bowling little people down the center aisle would really make this thing interesting. Some double dutch, change this whole court thing up.
Something,
yeah,
right?
They need to change it up. I need to know who's winning at some point. And I think if we could just do some gambling on it, we'll know if he starts betting on little people getting bowled down the center aisle, we know that most of that money went to gambling. If it's gone, if it's not over, offshore, just fool him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they can't battle it out in the courtroom, I don't know, just impromptu tennis match in the courtyard or something.
I want to see what kind of man he really is. Like, does he have it to play badminton in the middle of this court case? Could he stop doing this long enough to see you know what I'm saying? Just double dutch or badminton. Right? Badminton's fun. Yeah.
Exactly.
Knock down a stinger.
Break that little badminton, little clear the desk for playing ping pong, something, just shake it up a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
So this arguing back and forth.
Yeah.
Shake it up a little bit. That's all we're saying. Make it interesting. Exactly. Have some fun with it. Why not?
Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Why some of the jurors were dismissed from this high-profile case. Plus, what a DNA expert had to say about evidence found underneath a victim's fingernails that could be a win for the defense.
I can't really tell you how or when the DNA got there.
New information about the presence of DNA underneath Maggie Murdaugh's fingernails could be a pivotal revelation in the murder trial against her husband, disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh. DNA from an unidentified male was found underneath her fingernails after she and her son Paul were found shot to death at their country estate. Now, Paul and Alec were being excluded as the contributors, but the analysis couldn't really go much further because there wasn't enough to really create a DNA profile. DNA analyst Sarah Zapata was
Can you
just
pause it
one
before we
SLED
start this?
analyst to testify Monday on cross.
So I haven't heard this yet, but I'm assuming if there's something under her fingernails, that means she's had to be either fighting something, or could she have been with some other man since they don't live together? And I think they were on the outs. Maybe she had another man. Does it matter? I mean, obviously it may not have happened that day that she has that under her fingernails, right? It could have been from the night before.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what the expert had testified to. They do not know when
Oh, okay. I haven't
the
seen it. So,
DNA
okay.
was left, but
Right.
it is
Okay.
an unknown male DNA.
All right, let's do this. How long does DNA stay
Which is extremely weird.
in your nails? Answer. Although foreign DNA may persist under fingernails in harsh environments for up to 48 hours, found even after the deliberate deposition of cellular debris through scratching, foreign DNA rapidly decays beyond. Yeah. Okay. So up to 48 hours. So it could have been a day to 2 days before that came from
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Exactly. That's true.
All right. Makes sense.
No, they're saying it's an unknown male DNA, so it did not match to Alex. And that's one of the points that the defense is really tearing apart too.
Because if it doesn't match one of the Murdaughs, doesn't that mean that it didn't come from one of them? It's just like the knife sheath.
Yeah.
Like they were able to cross the DNA to his father's for Koberger. Like,
Yeah.
they would know it came from a family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's and yeah, Jess, that's a good point too, because that's the prosecution's thing, is that she did go have her nails done that day, and she also had a doctor's appointment that same day.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying that male DNA could have been picked up at either one of those two places, which is, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of weird to me. How would you get an unknown DNA under your fingernails from going to have your nails done? But is that even possible? Yeah, see, I don't. That's what I don't know either. How would you get somebody else's DNA under your fingernails? Because usually, the first thing you think of is, okay, well, like fighting back, scratching somebody, something like that. It was unidentified, but didn't say a male, just unidentified DNA. I could have swore they just said that it was male DNA, but let's back it up a second. Maybe I heard that wrong. Let's see here.
And a new round of testimony from the witness stand in the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. Why some of the jurors were dismissed from this high-profile case. Plus, what a DNA expert had to
They
say
had the
about
Rona.
evidence found underneath a victim's
That's all.
fingernails that could be a win for the defense.
We can't really tell you how or when the DNA got there.
New information about the presence of DNA underneath Maggie Murdaugh's fingernails could be a pivotal revelation in the murder trial against her husband, disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh. DNA from an unidentified male was found underneath her fingernails after she and her son Paul were found shot to death at their country estate. Now, Paul and Alex were being excluded as the contributors, but the analysis couldn't really go much further because there wasn't enough to really create a DNA profile. DNA analyst Sarah Zapata was just one SLED analyst to testify Monday. On cross-examination, the defense wanted to hammer home that there could have been another person at the scene, but Zapata explained it's not that simple.
Thank you.
Well, you are aware, as we had previous testimony, that Maggie Murdaugh had been to a nail salon late that afternoon.
I did not have any information about that, no.
So if her nails are quite clean coming to Moselle, she doesn't have a lot of opportunity to have contact with unrelated males.
Uh-oh. Objection. Grounds.
I overrule the objection.
So if her nails were clean coming to Moselle, it doesn't appear that she has much opportunity to have that kind of contact with unrelated males, does it?
It could be DNA, DNA under fingernails. You're picking up DNA anytime you touch an item potentially. If she did get her nails done, it's possible that somewhere at the nail salon, there was DNA that she picked up under her fingernails. We can't really tell you how or when the DNA got there, but at any point in time between getting her nails done and arriving home, she could touch an object, and potentially DNA from that object could be under her fingernails, or she can touch an individual and their DNA be under her fingernails in that way.
And the drama didn't end there. You see, Judge Clifton Newman started court by announcing that 2 jurors had to be released from jury service because they tested positive for COVID-19.
Yep,
The judge
they
gave the
did.
jurors the option of wearing a mask in court, but didn't make it a requirement. He also encouraged others in the courtroom to mask up. 2 alternate jurors are going to be part of the regular panel, which leaves 3 alternates left over. Another was dismissed earlier on in the case. The defense suggested pausing the trial for a few days, but Judge Newman decided that the trial will continue for now. Let's get some perspective from Terry, Austin, Brian, Buckmeyer. Terry, 2 jurors tested positive for COVID. If another juror tests positive,
Yep.
I'm thinking possible mistrial here. What do you think?
I'm thinking that could very well be possible. We've seen it, but it doesn't happen very often. In the Danny Masterson case, you may recall that a couple of jurors were dismissed because of COVID. And in that case, they just sent 2 more in, and that was during deliberations. I don't think we're going to have a mistrial here. First of all, it's not during deliberations, and all of the jurors and all of the alternates have heard all
There's some
of
good
the
testimony
evidence.
about to
So
come here.
we still have
They're
3
good.
more alternates to go, and it's possible
And
that
there's,
one
there's
or
still a
2
lot
more
left to
may
go, for
have
sure.
come through and get COVID. But the judge did say they were tested on Monday, and they're going to be tested again on Wednesday. So he's basically just taking it day by
I'm
day.
surprised
He's
they're not
calling
making
any
them
big,
test
mistrials.
every day.
Well, let's not even put that in the air. Brian, SLED agent Sarah Zapata testified there was unidentified male DNA under Maggie's fingernails. That felt like a big win for the defense.
And it was, Jesse. And I think the defense could have done a little bit more to shore it up. Her explanation of how DNA got under Maggie's fingernails or could have didn't seem very clear to me. I mean, you just sat down at a table where Bob Bianchi was sitting not too long ago. So you probably have some of
Quite the
Bob's
bookends
DNA
right
on your
there,
hand,
huh?
but probably not enough for it to register like something under the finger.
You know it stops at the
I get what
red.
the defense is trying to do. Maybe she fought her attacker, and that person's DNA is under their fingernails. They also got out of
See, I
this
think
witness
that's
that
what
they did not compare that DNA.
That's what the prosecution is trying to lead people to believe, is that male, the male DNA could have, or the defense actually, I'm sorry, are the ones that's trying to, use that to say, okay, well, that means that there could be somebody else, that is responsible for this.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that if they can't prove where it came from, then it could have been anything. So I don't really know how they can use that as definitive evidence. But again, they don't have to have definite evidence. They just have to have enough to make that reasonable doubt.
God, I really think the best thing that was said tonight, out of all this, even over all these attorneys and everything that we've listened to, is you saying that we need to find out if those khaki pants were really the ones he wore the night before, or those just ones he threw in there because he had to get rid of those ones with blood and everything else all over him. I think that's really important to figure out if those were actually which pants were what, right?
Yeah, that would be
I'd
that
have to
would be
tend to
important
agree.
to know. I mean, but I don't know how exactly they would find that out either, because unless they take an inventory, and have some way of knowing.
Murdaugh would have to tell the truth at some point. If they're not exploring it, then nobody's going to ask. If it's not a question, I mean, that's one thing that somebody should bring up as the prosecution when they're make the defense answer that, like they're going to have to jump through hoops for everything else,
right?
Right? Yeah, might as well.
I mean, unless we can get somebody that, maybe, I don't know, if the housekeeper probably wouldn't know exactly how many pair of pants he had, and, I'm saying an inventory of his clothes. At this point, they wouldn't be able to do that anyway. But I think that, that would be that would be something good for them to figure out.
Right. I agree 100%.
Or if they could figure out where the clothes went. Because what now? We've
Right.
got somebody stole 2 guns from him and his clothes. That's kind of weird. I mean, you can kind of
Seems like
get on board with somebody stealing a gun, but really somebody's going to go steal your clothes. That's kind of a weird criminal that steals your clothes. I'm just saying.
maybe he dressed up just like me and he did it. That's what he'd say.
Exactly.
I just really did Paul good this time. That's all I did was Paul good. I did him good this time. Take that off the record, please.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He's already
but
told
I
on
ju-
himself, and we can't even convict him. I mean, he's like told on himself twice.
I
And
know.
we still can't convict him off the record.
I know. But if he
Yeah,
ends up if they end up finding him not guilty on this, it's going to be bad. But at least we still have all the financial stuff, and there's no way he's getting out of that one.
Yeah.
I wonder if the trial for all this financial
He's
stuff
got a
is
lot
going
of
to
court.
get his.
He's going to have a lot of court to go through still. You'll see there's a lot more
Oh,
court to
yeah.
go through.
Oh yeah, he's going to be doing a whole lot of
Oh
courtroom
yeah.
time. I wonder if
They're gonna have to keep that picture of his grandfather down for how long? Shit, he's gonna be on trial for the next 10 years, this dude.
I imagine it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long haul.
Mm.
I wonder if the trial for all the financial stuff is going to get as much attention as this one does. Or are we
Nobody's
just
gonna
not
care
going
what
to see
happened.
it
Nobody's
anymore?
gonna care anymore at that point. As long as he's already got life sentences, why even put him through trial? Just let him sit and watch it from a jail cell. Like, what are you gonna charge him with more restitution he can't pay for the rest of his life? Unless they find the offshore bank accounts, that's what will make it interesting. They'll tell us how much money actually he's really. Well,
Right.
the reason why his wife's unhappy, it'll tell us a lot of stories. Those offshore accounts will tell us a big story about why his relationship was over and he was heading a different direction in his whole life. He was ready to pick up and go to one of his islands and never be found. Or somewhere. Yeah.
That would have been his best option, would be to just pack up and leave.
Oh, his best option would have been driving off a cliff. Then he would have the $10 million life insurance policy still goes to his wife. Then at that point, she can get herself out or figure some stuff out. Like
Right.
10 million goes a long way, and she has 10 million in real estate. That's 20 million. She could have got out of a lot of the stuff with that, and
Yeah,
still
she
had enough
could've.
to live.
I
I
mean,
think. Yeah.
The whole boat crash lawsuit was only 30, so.
Yeah, she would have had a total life.
Well, I'm saying, and I think
Maggie
maybe
knew
that
more,
was,
or Maggie was going to testify against him for the money thing after he came clean to her for some reason, or something else. She knew something more. So did
Right.
so did Paul. Paul probably, since Paul lived there, he was the youngest, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he probably was around there a lot more, and he probably knew something and was on his mom's side. They both had to die for a reason. Like Buster's still alive. He didn't go after Buster.
No,
He didn't have Buster come over to help them at the kennels. No.
No.
He knew he's going to need one ally while he's in jail. Out of everyone's going to turn on him. He needed one. Right.
Exactly. I mean, the number of people that he tried to get to, go along with certain stories and things that don't help. That don't help making him look innocent either.
No.
Looks bad too.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if they will be able to, if he does have offshore accounts. I don't know if they will be able to find them. Possibly. If they do enough digging, there has to be a trail somewhere. There's no way to completely cover it.
Yeah, just what did he name his accounts? The fraud account at the law office.
The fake forge, yeah.
Yeah, let's just do fake forge number 2. Start there.
Exactly.
I don't know. He seems like just telling himself like stolen
Well,
money.
that's what he
The
needs
stolen
to
money
do.
account. Yeah, the stolen money account probably. It's probably under that.
Right? It's called mine, not mine. Exactly.
Yeah, it's under his son's name. It's probably under the drug dealer's name that's deceased, since he owns that island with him still.
Yeah, that's
I don't
possible.
know. Makes you wonder, right?
It does. Maybe he took all the money and buried it on the island. Maybe it's in a big huge pot
Should have buried
somewhere.
himself on the island. I'm pissed that he didn't take himself. Like, out of all the people that take themselves out and alive themselves, like, this is the guy that should have done it. Such a terrible person. So terrible. I mean, willing to kill his own family? Yeah, I would be okay with him driving off a cliff fast. Like he's Thelma and Louise all in one. Yeah, let them go. Are you good? Are you good? This is God speaking.
Okay, is it back now? Okay.
Back where? You've never left.
No, my whole freaking screen went black. I don't know what happened.
You stayed in color, though.
And my whole screen cut off. I don't know what happened.
Now you're frozen.
Stupid internet. Seriously, it's frozen now.
Let it go.
I'm
Let it
trying.
go. You're not frozen anymore.
I'm
I
trying.
can't
Is that
see
better?
the black screen that you are seeing. If
I don't
you
know.
want to leave me.
Stupid. Oh
Let
no.
it go. Go.
Is it better now or no?
It's fine. It's fine to me. Is it fine to everybody
Okay.
else? Y'all good? Yeah.
Okay, we
You
good
may
now?
be having
Okay.
problems, but yeah, no, you're gonna be fine. You're just.
Of course I'm happy.
She rage quit.
Really. Seriously, do it again, see what happens. Seriously. Don't do it. Lord. What are you doing?
She said, "Do it again. See what happens." I wanted to see what happened.
Right?
It's like, yeah, it's like I'll keep poking at it till you tell me to stop.
Exactly.
I'm here. I got another 2 minutes before we have to hit that $4,947 bill for Winston's
Lord.
foot. We're almost out of time.
I know. Poor Winston.
Maybe we'll just continue that later because
good.
we're going to have a great show after this about 7:30 Pacific time. It's set up for on my channel, you guys. We're talking Dior Kuntz Jr. again. We're going to have Callie back. It's been about a year since she's been on the show. We've been talking about Dior Kuntz Jr. I have a playlist over on my channel. Yeah, so it's going to be. She actually is one of the bigger donors, and we raised $1,500 in one stream for this private eye to continue the case, and he's not back on it yet. But and we're not donating any more money to that, so don't come with your wallets unless it's donating to the channels, obviously. But we're not going to be doing any kind of fundraising or anything for that. So come over there and see what it's about. If you don't know anything about Dior Kuntz Jr., it's a very interesting story, and we're going to be going over the behavior panel tonight on it because they did a story on it. So we're going to actually break it down with what she knows. She's been on it since day one. It's like a 6-year-old case or something. It's pretty old.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good.
It's definitely going to be good to get that back out and get new people involved with that case. That's another one we've been working on it and trying to figure out what happened to him for a long time now.
Right. Yep.
So definitely be
Should be
good,
good.
you guys, to go join us over there. Thank you, Lisa, for Maggie the hunting dog.
For Maggie. Who's Maggie the hunting dog? Is that wait, what
I
happened? What did
believe
miss?
that was one of Alex's hunting dogs. He had a hunting dog named Maggie.
But Lisa gave you $1.99 for Maggie the hunting dog. Do you have a dog?
Yes.
Do you have a dog?
No, I do not have a dog.
That's why it's so great. People want to donate for other people's animals to you. See how great this is?
I know. See how that works?
Grifting 101. This is it. We need some more sad stories, maybe a hangnail here and there on our own. Yeah, our own maybe foot problems like Yvonne has. That would sell. Yeah.
I think so, right?
Yeah, nobody knows about her boner toe, but it's called that really because she grew this extra toe. It just sticks straight out like a hat rack. It's really weird. It's
what we have is a terrible case of the toes. Here, we don't have to remove it.
Well, just let it fucking sing like it belongs in our fucking family, the fucking stupid boner toe. Boner toe, boner toe.
Really, you couldn't get through the whole show with that without doing that?
Basically, it's not my fault.
See what happens when your screen goes black?
I know. You see what happens?
Now
Bad
you're
things
black.
happen. All right, you guys. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you. And we will catch you over on the things. Just
Don't forget to play that before we leave. We'll catch us on I'm No Thanks. If you can't hear her, she's still black. Can you hear her? Put a 1 in the chat. She's good. We can hear her.
No.